that dovetails with something Ashley just added to her reporting over the weekend about the DNA that was inside the house. Sheriff Nanos won't tell us, but she got some details. I don't know if this is the entirety of the DNA, but she did get some more details on what was found inside of that house. Here it is in SOT 54.
Today, another law enforcement source familiar with the investigation has said that the pattern of that blood inside the house matches the pattern outside the house, outside Nancy's front doors. Those pattern droplets, as many experts have, described it, are as vertical. They fall straight up and down, 90 degrees, and there's no smears, there's no stepping in it, there's no struggle, there's no signs of struggle on that front doorstep. My source tells me it is exactly the same inside the house, that there's no sign of struggle in that blood. It's not smeared, there's no steps. They are those straight up and down drop pattern blood. I asked where in the house, and I did not get that answer. I can't tell you if it was in the bedroom, if it was in the front entrance.
So that's a pretty good clue as to what went down that night, potentially, Will.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to cover your first point, Megyn, which was about the search and rescue and the sheriff calling it off very quickly, I am more inclined to, although statistically, yes, the chances of recovering someone within a designated period of time, it diminishes beyond that time. But until such time as, unless he had specific evidence to support the reasoning for calling off that search and rescue, I think the search and rescue should continue, whether it be using drones, whether it be using aerial capabilities, whether it be soliciting neighbors, all sorts of things. This can go on for an awfully long time, and determining also what Nancy's typical pattern of life was. What was her routine? Where did she go? Was there a local coffee shop that she would regularly frequent? Until such time as all those inquiries had been exhausted, I don't think you can call off a search and rescue. And I've had individuals where communications with kidnappers has broken down, and you'll actually send out a missing persons initiative. So again, it falls again into this bundle of errors that the sheriff seems to be calling, whether it be opening up the crime scene, enabling treasure hunters to come and start digging around. And I agree with Eric entirely on the point of, if she was going to be incapacitated, and certainly from the drops of blood, it would appear, and I think I can give the credit to Eric on this because we discussed this during the break, that she was probably being carried over the perpetrator's shoulder, which is hence why the drops fell as they did through the property and then out. And I'm sure Eric will probably be able to give you a little bit more on that. He's probably more of a blood expert than me. But certainly, it just seems a catalogue of errors as to how the whole site has been managed, the process has been managed, and it smacks horribly of a pettiness that the sheriff has towards the bureau and his unwillingness to cooperate
on
with
that
them.
front. On that front, this is speculative on my part, but. My understanding is if this is officially a kidnapping from day one, the FBI does have jurisdiction, like that the FBI could have swooped in and said, we'll take it. If it's just an abduction, if it's a murder, then it's a local crime and it's the sheriff's. So I could have that wrong, but I did hear that from a legal expert I trust over the weekend. And that could potentially, we know this sheriff, he denies it, but we know from his earlier statements, he can't stand the FBI. He has a bad history with them. He does not like them. They've investigated his department, and it's possible he was like, "It's an abduction. It's not a kidnapping. There's no reason for the FBI." And then eventually, like 72 hours in, he realized, "Oh shit, I'm in over my head." I don't know. It's just a possibility, but the blood pattern inside the house matching the blood pattern outside the house that we've seen, Eric, is interesting. That, with the new detail that she was taken from her bed, is starting to give us a visual in how they got her out. So expand on your statement to Will.
Well, what we were talking about earlier is it seems like if it's a 9 degrees, so you have a straight line, a pattern of blood droplets moving along. Now, she could have been carried, she could have been dragged and bleeding. There are a couple of reasons she could be bleeding. There could have been blunt force trauma, and then she's pulled out. She could have been actually killed in the home, and it's not an abduction of the person, but a taking away of the body. Or something could have happened in the home, an altercation, and they decided we need to get her out, we need to go. And as she's being pulled along, she's bleeding. When you're 84 years old, if you're grabbed roughly, that skin can tear a lot easier than when you're much younger. And so that could have caused it. But either way, it looks to me that she was pulled out or carried. She dropped blood in a certain pattern that matches interior of the house, the porch, and of course along the driveway. And then she's thrown in a car and taken away. And we don't know what happened to her since then.
Well, and the other thing we don't know is how much blood is inside, right, which is why, I've wondered all along if this sheriff is leaning toward murder as opposed to abduction. And he's got to keep abduction open because she's no longer there, James. But if there's a lot of blood inside that house, it's possible this sheriff all along has been, and don't forget, he called in homicide detectives immediately. It's possible from the get-go he's been thinking this is a homicide.
Yeah, and you're right. And he also might have told her, or told Savannah she was taken from her bed because that's where a large deposit of the blood was. That would make complete sense of the video we're now seeing. But why take the body? This case, just the more you look at it, the less and less it makes any sense. Why take her body? If she died, in the bed or right there, there was a struggle.
What if she fought, James?
Yeah.
And then she's got the perpetrator's DNA under her fingertips.
Yeah, it's possible. Again, there had to have been a reason. I try not too much to get in the head of these people because, you drive yourself crazy. But it's just bizarre. And then I think, unless Eric saw it somewhere, I have not seen a lot of blood leaving the porch, going down that little step up, the steps with the wrought iron where that blue T-shirt was left. I've only seen blood. Yeah, like I don't see any.
Here's the Fox News video.
Right.
And it does show some blood on this little path that we're looking at right now, leading into the red bricks. So the blood does continue. That was news that we didn't know, courtesy of Fox.
Yeah, it's
after they released that video of the intruder.
Right.
You can see blood.
Okay.
Drops of blood. This is courtesy of Fox.
Yeah, and interesting that he didn't step in it. Interesting, and it's very dark. We know how dark it is there. So how do we, from an evidentiary standpoint, how do we get there? How was he able to carry her or move her? And that thing's fallen at a 90 without, any real movement, which you would expect carrying someone out, and then not step in it at 2 a.m. It's so dark there. Maybe he's using that mouth light that he had, but it's odd to me.
Well, Eric's theory of her possibly being over his shoulder,
Right.
like bleeding behind him
I like
as
that.
he walked forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would explain it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then to the car, and then we go.
But I mean, you guys could speak to this more easily than I think I could speculate to it. But I think she was 5'5" and 150 pounds. If she were no longer living, that would be extremely heavy, right? To lift.
Yes.
Dead weight, like a dead weight of 150 pounds weighs even more. It feels like it weighs even more, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Eric,
But we're also assuming that there's only one person. That there could be multiple people, and I suspect there would have been multiple people if they're carrying her out, right? That's very difficult for one. Or it could be one person who kind of restrains her. He had a lot in that backpack. So he could have had restraints. She could have gagged her. She could have been bleeding. He walked her out. And forced her into a car. So we just don't know.
We have zero reason to disbelieve that.
Right.
Zero reason to disbelieve. We haven't seen it like an empty car sitting there waiting. We didn't see the perp come up and turn off the ignition with no one else in it. Like there absolutely could have been another person there. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced financial strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind, regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.